Hi everyone, and welcome to Steve's Backyard Bonsai. Yesterday, Dave from Dave's Bonsai and I worked together in my yard, and one of the things we worked on, which you'll see on one of his videos, is my dawn redwood forest. We trimmed it back. It doesn't look so great because of the rules of trimming dawn redwoods. Learn those rules. Learn those rules. One of the features that has become a feature on that planting is a root over rock segment that's growing beautifully. But if I don't keep up with putting the moss around the root ends, they're going to dry up and shrivel up, and I will have wasted all those wonderful root over rock things I'm seeing. So I thought some of you might want to see how I'm going about mossing that up and what I'm using to do it. In front of you is the moss experiment that I put together earlier this year. I tried a different version of this last year, but what I did was I put down a layer of the material that I scraped from the back of some really fine moss that I had. I put that on a very thin layer on a tray with no drainage, and then I fitted a piece of window screen. And the idea was, if the moss took, I could scrape it away from the window screen. So on top of the window screen, I put a mixture of, I put down a layer of akadama dust, which I had wet into a paste, so it's very thin. And then on top of that, I sprinkled my moss mixture, which is, it was about 60% of a ground, very nice moss that grew in my neighborhood, and sphagnum moss. You can see the sphagnum moss is the light color in there. And it stays pretty moist. You must mist it every day. If you miss misting it, it'll start to peel up. What's interesting is it was peeling up with the window screen. So I need some moss now, and I thought you'd be interested to see how I'm taking it. I'm cutting against the window screen now. I'm cutting a piece of sod. This is awesome. And I've been keeping this super moist. I just got to get it started, and then I can peel it away from the window screen. I can make this as long as I like. So I'm going to do two pieces so it's not so ungainly. And I'm putting it in a tray that has a little water at the bottom. In the middle, there's a swale, and I can wet the moss quickly like that. And you can see the window screen here. I hope you can. Let me see. This is ready for me putting down a new layer of akadama dust and moss mixture, which, as you can see, I've done. So I don't think I need this much, but I'm going to take two. Ooh, look at that. I'm going to wet it like I wet the other one, so it's not too wet. For someone who's always trying to get nice moss, this has worked out real well. I hope I can keep this up. And you can see the akadama mixture, or the akadama and I guess some of the moss mixture, which I'm just going to squish back down. I'll put a little bit more akadama dust down on the bottom, wet it nicely, get it flat, sprinkle some new moss mixture on it, and this could be a lifelong thing. I'm going to try and improve on this, take what mistakes I think I made and not make the same ones again. But let's go over to that rock and cover those roots. All right, I'll point out the roots to you if they're not obvious. There's a root here. Oh, by the way, look what I'm pointing with. Dave, you are the best. Good luck with Bonsai Acres. This was fantastic. What a great visit. All right, roots here. Roots here. There's a root here. There's a larger root under here that I've already covered that I believe has gone under, and this is another one that is coming in its place. And I've got a root kind of turning over here. Yesterday it dried out a little bit, and then it took a turn, and it looks like it's headed right here. So I want to cover those roots up with my moss mixture. So here it is. Look how thin it is. and that's going to be pressed to the rock. Make sure the rock is moist. Makes it easier to shape the moss. It goes on nicely. Not the same moss as I have here, and I don't even care, but I'm going to cover this to the edge of the rock. Oh, that one turned around. That's okay. Small pieces. It takes, as you can see, the moss behind it is from the same mixture, and the roots don't get very tall in it, I hope. It might, over here I put a thicker layer. So when I start to see the roots peek over the edge of this, like I did here, I hadn't mossed over it. I then came back with more moss to cover the root ends. And I didn't realize how, I knew it was hot yesterday, but I didn't realize how this was drying out. I had watered it. There's a void here between, a void on purpose right here between the root and the lip of the pot that the big root is going down into very nicely. I want to make sure that continues. But a root coming down here, that's a bonus. I'm going to try turfus dust also, which I have collected. You know, the absolute fines after I make my soil and screen the turfus. And I'm going to move the camera around to this side. There's a lot of roots here. All right, as you can see, this is a double root. I think one crosses over the other, so I'm going to have to evaluate that. And then there's, it might be the same one. Can't really tell. But I'm going to cover that. Little pieces of root that are sticking out here, I just don't want them to brown up. Even if I'm not seeing the tip and the tip is headed somewhere else and collecting the water, I don't want this to dry out yet. And I've got roots all up in here as well. So this is amazing. Well, I can't remember when I did it. I'll have to look. But it was in June. It might have been the end of June. I'm not sure anymore. Either way, I'm very surprised that this stuff grew as quickly as it did. These roots, rather. Must be doing something right. Gotta hope so. I don't have a really good root over rock feature on any of my plantings. And heaven knows, I want one, at least one. I'm reaching over the camera to do this, so. A little bit precarious. I don't even know if that's a root, I'm covering it anyway. I don't want the roots to come down here because they'll hit the lip of the pot and look silly. But if they go back down into the soil over here, that's great. It's really important to me that it goes into the soil around here. They did this upside down again? Yeah. All right, that's a quick little video. Thanks again to Dave for helping me prune this up. And you'll be seeing that on one of his episodes soon. Thanks for joining me in my backyard.